this room physically instead of just electronically. So let's just go through what we have. So Justin, grammarian,
Yes.
word of the day. I'm actually going to do a speech, but it's a 100% video speech that I've pre-recorded. So that's how I'm able to do a speech and do Toastmasters. I see we don't have a second speaker.
Actually, Maurice stepped up for that. So.
Oh, you're our second speaker?
Yes.
All right. And you're also going to do table topics? Oh, okay.
Yes, I'll do table topics also.
All right. General evaluator. Who can step up and do general evaluator?
I'll do the one.
Okay. I'll just make the note over here on your sheet.
I can serve as the first evaluator.
Second evaluator? Second evaluator?
You can have me say.
All right. Okay, you'll be second. Okay. What about a timer?
I can do timer.
You can do timer? All right.
That's it.
I'll be official next week or something.
You don't have to be official.
You can do a section, we'll make you catch up.
I'm kind of nervous, so I'm just enjoying this fellowship.
And will we have an educational overview?
Yeah, I have one.
You have, okay. So like I said,
Number 2.
I'm glad to be here in person and meet some of you for the very first time in person. And financially, it's not a good thing that I'm here, because it means I'm not making money. So I might actually make it next Monday as well, which is not a good thing, because it means I'm not making it. So I'm in the process of, I want a proposal for a new contract.
Okay.
Should have been awarded last calendar year, and quote, will be awarded any day now. So I'm hoping for that.
Do you need help in the marketing arena?
Hopefully I'll get this contract.
Oh, okay.
And that's the marketing.
Oh, okay,
So,
all right.
Get the contract, that's the marketing. Now, how many people here heard me on Tuesday's noon broadcast of WKRG?
Oh, I missed it.
One of your members actually was live, a live interview this past Tuesday. And I must say, I forgot everything Toastmasters told me. I don't know how many ohms I had, but Tuesday, as you know, I work up in Huntsville at Redstone Arsenal. And if you remember what happened on Tuesday at Redstone Arsenal,
Yeah.
there was an active shooter event going on. And so I had to evacuate, or actually we have training on just how to handle these things. So you run away from any active shooter, and then you hide in a secure location, and then you prepare to fight if needed. And so the active shooter event occurred in a building that was about a mile away from the building I was in. So I and 2 other people went to a conference room and locked ourselves in that conference room. And we're getting ready to fight. And so our plan was, okay, if it comes in this building, we've got this big table in the conference room with no windows that is going right in front of the door. And that's how we were going to fight. If somehow they got through that, then I had actually taken a little ceramic knife to the thing with me. So that was our plan. And that's what we were trained to do. But anyway, my daughter, those of of you don't know, my daughter is a reporter for WKRG. And so I was texting her saying, yeah, I'm okay. She said, well, do you mind being interviewed on the noon broadcast? So they called me up, they interviewed me, and like I said, I proceeded to forget everything about Toastmasters, and it was just the Wizard of Oz. I was not proud of that.
Wow.
And it turned out everything was okay. Yeah, what triggered it were 2 911 calls in the morning that were specific on where the thing was going on. You know, the second floor of the building in the Sparkman Center. And I know some people that were on the 3rd floor while that was going on. And they actually literally did turn their conference room table over on its side. And when the military police showed up, it took them a while to move everything out of the way and get out of the room. But that's what we're trained to do. All right. Justin, can you give us the word of the day?
Yes, I can. The word of the day is motif, which is a reoccurring subject, theme, idea, especially in literary, artistic, or musical work. Another definition is a distinctive reoccurring form, shape, figure in a design, as in a painting or wallpaper. A third definition, a dominant idea or feature, motif.
Okay. Now, you're the first evaluator? All right. Here's my manual for the final speech for making bronze.
Okay.
So I'll get with you. Listen, who's the VPE? You, okay.
Vice President of Education.
So after the meeting, I'll get with you and show you what you do as somebody earns an award. So the DPE handles all of that. So give me just a minute. The reason I'm able to do a speech and be Toastmaster is this is a pre-recorded speech.
Okay. And in the meantime, while he's setting that up, the Table Topics Master will lead in giving impromptu speeches to the Toastmasters, whoever are selected, and they will get the subject of that table topics just prior to them coming to the lectern. And it's 1 to 2 minutes for each table topics.
All right, you're going to evaluate me, so would you mind reading that?
In this project, the speaker is to present a training program on how to prepare and present a speech. The presentation will be recorded on video and played back during the meeting. You and a panel of 3 other evaluators under the direction of the general evaluator will evaluate only the video playback of the presentation. You will evaluate the effectiveness of the training program and the speaker's performance on the video. Please read the entire project in appendix before you hear the presentation.
So, we're not going to have time for you to do that, so I apologize. And it'll go to one of the points I make in the instruction. You should show up early so that you can talk to the Toastmaster or evaluator.
Parents, I'm just kidding.
Okay. All right. Better off yet. These words come from multiple surveys. People's fears that show that more people fear public speaking than death.
In other words, more people would rather be in the box than given the eulogy. This instructional video is intended for Hilltoppers Toastmasters to know on how to prepare and present a speech. The most important step in preparing for a speech is choosing your topic. You want to make it appropriate for your audience. Remember, you will be the expert in this speech. You're going to want to organize your speech. Determine what are your main points, what are the sub-points, and what is the support material that you're going to use to support all of the points in your speech. You should determine if visual aids or gestures or vocal variety add to the purpose of the speech. You want to develop a strong opening, grab the attention of the audience, and finish with a strong conclusion. Most speeches, you're going to want to tell the audience what you're about to tell them, and then at the end, remind them about what you just told them. One of the last steps you're going to take is choosing a catchy title. You've done all this preparation work, you know what's in the speech. You want to choose a catchy title so that when the audience is looking through the agenda, you know, pick out your speech, wonder what it is going to be about. Now we've all heard the saying, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice. Speeches are no different. You're going to want to practice your speech, whether it's in front of a mirror, or a video camera, or someone that won't laugh at you while you're giving your speech. As you're practicing, anticipate some problems. Come up with some backup plans so you can handle anything that the venue throws at you. Now you're ready to present. One of the most important things is arrive early. So you can check out the venue, check out the technology. Does the projector work? Is the microphone work? Are your backup plans that you prepared earlier necessary? Another important reason to show up early is that you can talk to the Toastmasters or the host of the meeting where you're giving the speech and give them information so they can introduce you to the audience so you can have a good first impression of the audience. You want to confirm that the time on the agenda is still available. I had one 20-minute speech, and I was supposed to get another speaker who was supposed to have 20 minutes. But he took over 40 minutes. So the host of that meeting came to me and said, well, we've only got 3 minutes. We need to cover everything that you were supposed to cover in 20 minutes. And so I definitely had to do some adjustments. And although I had planned for that much of a change, I was able to adjust that speech. So you want to use everything that you have practiced to grab the audience's attention and keep them interested throughout your speech. If you can, some venues don't allow it, but if the venue allows it, come out from around the lectern and just yank the audience into your speech. The audience won't know how much went into preparing their speech, but they will think your presentation is easy enough that they know that you are not one of those people that believe they are better off dead. Thank you.
Okay, I like that speaker. Our second speaker, and I don't know what manual or what the title of your speech is, but Maurice, our immediate past president, will give us the second speech of the night. Maurice.
fellow Toastmasters, the speech I will present tonight is an interpretive reading, and it is a poem by Langston Hughes, and the title is Life is Fine. Before I get into the poem, I will give a brief summary of who Langston Hughes was. James Mercer Langston Hughes was born February 1st, 1902 in Joplin, Missouri. His parents divorced when he was a young child, and his father moved to Mexico. He was raised by his grandmother until he was 13. When he moved to Lincoln, Illinois to live with his mother and her husband before the family eventually settled in Cleveland, Ohio, it was in Lincoln that Hughes began writing poetry. After graduating from high school, he spent a year in Mexico, followed by a year at Columbia University in New York City. During this time, he held odd jobs such as assistant cook, launderer, and busboy. He also traveled to Africa and Europe working as a seaman. In November 1924, he moved to Washington, D.C. Hughes' first book of poetry, The Weary Blues, was published by Alfred A. Koff in 1926. He finished his college education at Lincoln University in Pennsylvania 3 years later. In 1930, his first novel, Not Without Laughter, won the Harmon Gold Medal for Literature. Some of his primary influences include Paul Laurence Dunbar, Carl Sandburg, and Walt Whitman. And along with writing different poems and writing different books throughout his life, he was involved in the Harlem Renaissance in the 1920s, and most of his literary work covered the time period from the 20s to the 60s, and he died in 1967. Now for the poem, Life is Fine. I went down to the river. I sat down on the bank. I tried to think, but couldn't. So I jumped in and sank. I came up once and hollered. I came up twice and cried. If that water had been so cold, I might have sunk and died. But it was cold in that water. It was cold. I took the elevator, 16 floors above the ground. I thought about my baby, and I thought I would jump down. I stood there and I hollered. I stood there and I cried. If I hadn't been so high, I might have jumped and died. But it was high up there. It was high. So since I'm still here living, I guess I will live on. I could have died for love, but for living I was born. Though you may hear me holler, and you may see me cry, I'll be dogged, sweet baby, if you're going to see me die. Life is fine, fine as wine. Life is fine. At this time, I'll give my brief synopsis before I read a prepared synopsis of this poem. So in the poem, he went down to the river, he sat down on the bank, he tried to think, but he couldn't. His mind was going 100 miles an hour. He couldn't concentrate on a single thing. So he decided to jump in the river. He sank, but he came up hollered and cried. But he says if the water hadn't been so cold, he might have sunk and died. I have two ways of interpreting that. One is that he didn't really want to die, he really wanted to live. And another interpretation is when he says that the water hadn't been so cold, he might have sunk and died. To me, it's sort of an excuse that he attempted suicide, but he really did not want to. So he came up with an excuse not to commit suicide. And the same thing for when he was in the elevator. He went up 16 floors above the ground. He thought about his baby, and he thought he would jump down, but he hollered and cried. But if it hadn't been so high, he might have jumped and died. He really wanted to live. He didn't really want to die. But at the end of it is the last two lines, "I'll be dog, sweet baby, if you're going to see me die." So he was full of life, and he wasn't going to let anyone or anybody put into his mind that he should commit suicide. And the prepared analysis says, "The spirited and jaunty Life is Fine is not one of Hugh's most well-known works, but has many similarities to his other poems. It tells the story of a man with a jubilant spirit and the ability to remain optimistic in the face of a personal despair. It is energetic and musical, and the structure resembles that of a blues song. The poem has 6 stanzas with a varied refrain at the end of each one. Hughes utilizes frequent repetition to emphasize his message." So in this poem, Hughes revisits a common theme in his work, perseverance. So that's the motif of his poem. He understands the plight of his people and crafts a vulnerable character here who often considers giving up on life but can never quite follow through, meaning that he still has something to live for. By coming so close to death, the speaker in Life is Fine finds a renewed desire to live. Toastmaster.
Maurice. I can honestly say that the motif at Hilltoppers is improving speech. So I appreciate that review, that point. And I'm going to actually turn control of the meeting back over to you again as table topic master.
All right, thank you, Toastmaster. At this time, we'll ask for a volunteer. Okay, Lawrence. What do you plan to do for the 4th of July, which is tomorrow?
Fellow Toastmasters, tomorrow is a great day in our nation. It is the day that we proclaimed independence. It's the day that the Declaration of Independence became a reality to those people at that time. It's really valuable for us to think about what they were thinking. What was the issue then? They were risking their lives, their families, their livelihood, their freedom, what they had, on that one document, the Declaration of Independence. So tomorrow is a wonderful day to celebrate independence. And so, I'm going to celebrate independence by being an independent person. by enjoying time together with my family and maybe, I don't know for sure, but maybe go see some fireworks somewhere. But always, always, always remember the sacrifice of those that came before. Let us enjoy our Independence Day. Mr.
Okay, can we have another volunteer? Okay.
Okay.
What are your most memorable Independence Day celebrations? In any period of your life?
Do I stand here?
You come to the lectern.
Fellow Toastmasters. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, boom, they were bursting in air. Some of my most memorable 4th of July moments, they include all the GFs. Good food, good friends, good fun, and good family, mostly. I think the one that I like most, there were several. 4th of July for us meant fireworks and families and food. Some of my favorite foods were traditional foods of my culture that I'm looking forward to tomorrow, such as some ribs, potato salad, collard greens, corn on the cob, fireworks, playing cards. One of my favorite ones, however, was a cousin of my favorite cousin came to my house to visit. And during the week that he came to visit, we put little flags all around the house and we decorated, I had a colonial style home at the time, and we put all the red, white, or blue around the house. However, since I'm from Florida, I wanted to play pirates, so we bought these giant pirate boats. They weren't giant, but these large inflatable boats for the pool, and we pretended like we were pirates. So we were in the pool with the sparkles, and we just celebrated. We had the kids. We put the fireworks on top of the fence, and they were going up, and we were afraid because we had too many cocktails, and we laughed into the next day. So that's one of my most memorable, favorite 4th of July. Thank you.
Okay, Lawrence, what did I ask you?
You asked me what was I going to do.
Okay. Another volunteer? Okay, Tom. In the theme of Independence Day and the 4th of July, what do you do to actually, as far as your celebration, what do you do to actually cover the historical points of the 4th of July? You know, maybe go to a museum or go through a history book or anything like that.
So fellow Toastmasters, I'm very blessed. I'm married to a historian. Leading up to and including the Revolutionary War. So, typically what we end up doing is in the morning we'll do something nice and quiet at home. My kids are very young, so we have found several historically as accurate as possible as any cartoon can be. Cartoon of what Independence Day is all about, the 4th of July. As crazy as it sounds, one of which is we go to YouTube for one of them because we can get an excerpt from the Animaniacs that talks about the writing of the Declaration of Independence in possibly one of the most patriotic ways I have ever seen in any cartoon, or most media for that matter. So that's generally how we start our day. We then just proceed through just having a normal fun day as a family, and typically we'll end our day doing one of the most American things I can ever think of, watching a baseball game, eating hot dogs, with a fireworks show at the end. And so we try to incorporate all Americana, not just the Revolution, but we start with the history of it because my wife wouldn't have had it any other way.
Okay, how many more?
You know, about 2 minutes.
Okay, another volunteer? Okay, Yu Ying. Okay, Yu Ying. Can you tell us what celebration you have in China that's similar, not exactly like Independence Day, but something that's celebrated like Independence Day in America from China?
in China.
Well, something similarly celebrated in China.
Similar the
Right.
holiday, like a.
Right. It may not be exactly like
Uh-huh.
Independence Day,
Okay.
but something that you celebrate in China like Americans celebrate.
Mhm.
Hey, kind of like holiday.
Holiday, yeah, we are. In China, we have we call National Night. It's the same as the Independence Day. It's like the 1949, October 1st. The new nation established at that day is like communist party take over another party. So we make this day as like a national like very exactly like Independence Day. The different is we have 2 days holiday before, but right now we have whole weeks to celebrate this day. But this day, because we have 1 week, so it's changed to the like travel day. So people travel different place. My opinion is it's lost the original meaning. So not like here. So I don't like this. I still think we need to celebrate the real meaning, but we are independent or something.
So I will relinquish the lectern back to the Toastmaster.
Thank you, Maurice. So that concludes the speeches, whether they were prepared or impromptu, for tonight's meeting. We will now transition into the evaluation phase of the meeting. And Julius is our general evaluator. Julius.
Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. As far as the evaluations go, the meeting started on time. All roads were filled. We had 2 speeches, 2 good speeches. Table topics were in keeping with the motif of the season. And at this time, we'll move to the first speech evaluation, and that'll be Thomas evaluator's Mark's speech.
So I was evaluating Mark's video presentation, Better Off Dead. There's several questions here, but I'm not actually going to go straight through the questions. I'm just going to kind of summarize, because if I went through the questions, it's going to take forever. He had conservative dress, which was very important, so that his dress did not distract from the presentation, which, as it says here, that's an important part on a video presentation. He did have a lot of vocal variety and gesture variety, which made it so that, in spite of the fact that it was on a screen, I felt that I was continuing to be pulled back into it, versus usually when I watch training presentations that aren't having so much variety, I start tuning them out about halfway through. So that was very good. The only distracting thing that I thought occurred was one time he approached the camera a little too fast and it didn't pan up with him. And so it cut off his head, but he was still talking, and that was just a little distracting to just hear Mark's voice and not see his face with it. But other than that, I thought it was an amazing presentation, and I wouldn't mind showing it to the people I work with who have to give presentations and briefings with me as a way for them to help be prepared, to help me do well in a meeting. So I'd like to thank Mark very much for creating that wonderful tool that we can put out, hopefully for everybody to use, and general value.
Okay, the second speech will be evaluated on myself. I'll be evaluating Maurice's speech, Life is Fine. Those are interpretive poetry reading. In this project, the speaker's task was to present a poem using vocal techniques to capture the imagery and rhythm of a poem and to convey its meaning. Questions. Was the speaker able to express his thoughts and emotions of the poem? I said yes. He used vocal variety to help express the meaning of the poem. Did the speaker understand the poem? I said yes. Maurice understood it so well, he gave us a little history lesson about the poem. Was the speaker able to envision the pictures painted by the poet? I said yes. We talked about the elevator, talked about drowning, being born again, willing to live. Did the speaker make effective use of pauses, rhythm, and cadence? I said yes. Did the speaker avoid a sing-song rhythm? I said yes. Appropriate pauses. What kind of eye contact did the speaker have with the audience? I said slight eye contact. And they said you want to avoid direct contact when you're reading the poem. So your eye contact was appropriate for the reading. Was the speaker well prepared and familiar with the material? I said yes. He gave us a very thorough background of the poem, of the author's life. Now, what could the speaker have done differently to improve the presentation? I said, based on what I read, just give the title of the poem and then just proceed to interpret the poem. I said, you gave us a little introduction of the poem. I said, you would have been just better. Title of the poem, boom, go right into it. What did you like about the presentation? I liked the motif of the poem, persistence. It was a great poem. I like to use myself. Now, at this time, we will hear from our grammarian, Justin.
Sorry, I just finished some notes there. So, when it comes to counting uhs, I didn't notice any uhs in anyone's speeches or evaluations, unless I missed one.
Just one. I have one.
And a hair.
In the
Like
evaluation.
a hair.
I know I had one. My evaluation work. I lost my place.
I heard motif used twice by Julius, once by Maurice, and once by Mark, and I didn't notice any grammatical errors or incorrect uses of languages in any of the speeches or evaluation.
Okay, thank you, Justin. This time we'll hear from the timer.
So I'm also the timer. And the first speech was completed by Mark, and that was 4 minutes and 40 seconds, and I really wanted to hold up a flag for your speech, but I wasn't able to because it didn't make it 5 minutes instead of the speaker's one. The second speech was by Maurice. It was 8 minutes long. On the table topics, Lawrence spoke for 1 minute and 30 seconds, Marlowe for 1 minute and 54, and I really liked your speech, by the way. Tom spoke for 1 minute 37, Ewing for 1 minute 30, and then in the evaluations, Tom spoke for 1 minute 30. The second evaluation, Julia spoke for 2 minutes and 10 seconds.
Okay, thank you. And that concludes the evaluation portion of the meeting. We'll link the selection back to the Toastmasters.
Oh, okay. All right, so next on the agenda is educational overview.
Okay, I did you, yeah, Thomas, yeah, you had one?
So Thomas has a educational overview, and what I'm gonna do, since you're also president, is turn control of the meeting over to you, so I will not be standing back up.
Okay, for the educational overview tonight, those of you who've met me know that I'm very much into technology. And so I'm going to briefly talk about the need for us to very much be on Easy Speak and using it actively. On Easy Speak, there is goal setting. I, as well as all the other officers, will be using what's in there to help you guys achieve awards. By you setting a goal, you can set it for leadership, you can set it for speeches. We're going to make sure, we're going to be able to engage you this way on what you're trying to get done to make sure you're getting your goals accomplished. I'm bringing this up because right now, besides me, there's only one other person who has an active goal listed in Easy Speak, and that's Maurice, and his is about to expire. So we're not using this tool, and the big part of the reason for the tool is not just for you guys to be able to track your progress on it, but it's to help specifically Yu Ying, who's our Vice President of Education, be able to set you up in a role every week, whether it be speaking or general evaluator, timer, to achieve your leadership development goals. I also bring this up for one other reason. You guys don't realize this, but when I got elected president here, I am doing this, I started this process as part of a program at work for leadership development. And so when I was elected president, I have to write up every month everything that occurred in every facet of this program, one of which is Toastmasters. When I wrote that down, my boss, his boss, and my colonel, because I work for the Army, all came by to my cube. I only ever see my actual boss in my cube to wish me congratulations on how important it was to be developing as a leader and then serving in a leadership role. And we want to help you, as the officers here, to develop your leadership skills in a documented, awardable way, so that when you go up for that promotion or when you go up for just wanting to make more money and you need some negotiation, you have these things that you can put on your resume, and we'll have helped you get there. But we can't do that if you don't tell us what you want to get out of it. And a great way to do that is on Easy Speak, by setting goals. And I promise you, from my perspective, we'll make it so that it's impossible for you to fail outside of you just quitting. Okay? So that's our educational overview. Tonight there are no awards, but we are getting really close to a lot of people getting awards. I know Mark's getting close. I think that's actually, he has now got his award, so we'll be submitting that, and we'll be able to give that to Mark either virtually or in person in the next few weeks. I know that Lawrence as well is also getting close to completing another competent communicator. So just a few more speeches for him, and we'll be there on that one as well. So we have some coming. We will now turn the time over briefly to Yu Ying, if she needs any for reviewing of next week's agenda. I know the last I looked, I didn't see anything set up.
Sorry.
That's fine. No, this is when we're allowed to do that. So you can take it from your seat there if you'd like.
To be a speech. One year.
I can give a speech.
Okay.
Well, I need to give one next week because I'm out the next week. However, I'll bring you really cool pictures from meeting with Barber and other really cool people, because that's why I'm out of town. I'm going to a Comic-Con, and I won't be back yet because it's 12 hours away. So I can, and that's all. I already requested it in Easy Speak, so you just pull it down. And it's my next one.
All right, I'll do a speech.
Okay. Thank you.
Julie, can you punch that into some info so she can just pull it and add it pretty easy?
Okay.
I've never done an evaluation, so if I do an evaluation, it would be my first.
That's fine.
Okay.
We all have to do it once for our first
Supposed to
time.
be, I'll do it for the speaker. Yes.
Okay. So we have our 2 speakers. Do we have somebody who would like to be Toastmaster next week? I asked for a volunteer for this because that is the...
I can be Toastmaster next week. Oh, it's changed.
What do you mean? Won't let you do stuff?
No, I'm on next week's thing and it doesn't come up the same way it did before. I'm no longer the Vice President of Education. It's not giving me the access that way anymore.
I'll go in that tonight and we'll make sure that you always just get added as the meeting manager so that you can pull it up on your tablet in the future.
No, I still pull it up. It just doesn't have the same format as it did when I was before.
I'm gonna be in a general event,
Being, okay.
in general event,
So we still need a second evaluator.
no, general,
General.
general,
I thought you just said you were going to serve that.
general event.
Yeah, so I was saying we still need, we're missing, we still need one more evaluator, a timer and a grammarian,
Yeah,
right? Okay,
there's a timer.
I'll evaluate I'll take that position.
The evaluator.
Yeah.
You're going to be an evaluator, is that right? What I heard?
Yes, sir.
and we can worry about grammarian and timer as late as the actual meeting if we can't get volunteered. So,
Yeah. Okay. Oh, did you get that, Yu Ying? I'll take an evaluator position.
Okay.
Yeah.
okay. I understand that a lot of people aren't here, so we may not get full volunteers. Hopefully we'll see Mark here again. Yeah. Hopefully we'll see Mark here again before too much longer, but hopefully that we'll all be awarded and you'll be attending on the mantle back there, as we were all used to by next meeting. Is there any other business that anybody would like to bring forward? Then the meeting is adjourned.
All right.
Very good. All right.
Okay. Who is